Hello again, and it's getting better and better. We are still learning how to use English prepositions, and now we have a new group of prepositions. We are going to talk about directions. And yes, in English it is a specific group, and I think it makes sense and it's actually easier to separate them from the prepositions of locations. You already saw that there are so many of those, yeah? And here, again, we have some kind of a list. And yeah, let's talk about running, jumping, moving, going, arriving, and all this stuff. And the best way to learn the prepositions of directions is actually to follow your cat or dog around the house. They move in all the different directions, yeah? And they jump on things, they jump off things and all this stuff. Right now, let's learn how to describe that step by step. The basic thing about the movement, of course, it is when you start moving, okay, from point 1 to point B. You need to remember these ones. From, as I told you before, people are trying to use it as the preposition of time. No, it doesn't like to be a preposition of time. It shows the direction from some point, okay, the movement from some point to or towards, okay, towards some point. Imagine that, I don't know, you are riding a bicycle and you leave someplace. There is no preposition there. I am leaving Amsterdam, for example, and I am riding, okay, to Utrecht, for example. So don't be afraid of these towards preposition. It's just the usual one, towards some place. It's very common when we say towards somebody. It's more common, yeah, like towards, I'm running towards somebody, my friend, for example. Another pair which we need very often, we are jumping into, okay, or we are moving into. So if you are already inside, imagine that I am in the room, but when I am walking into the room, yeah, I'm showing direction with this part too, and I'm showing the location with this in. So you are, well, the cat is jumping into the box. You are walking into the room, you are getting into town, and so on and so on. When the cat is bored of sitting in the box, it's jumping out of the box. The same way you are walking out of the room, okay? You are riding out of the city, and so on and so on. The movement inside, into, the movement outside, out of the preposition, which consists of two words. Now about surfaces. My cat likes to jump on the tables. And we are trying to explain to her that this is not the best thing to do, but she keeps doing that. You can drive onto the road. If, for example, you were driving on the field and then you are driving onto the road, you can sit onto something, okay, onto some object. And here again, sometimes they are shown with brackets, but you need to get used to this as one word, onto. And when you are moving from some surface, it is not from, okay? From, it's when you start here in this point, you move from something, okay? But when you are jumping off the surface, okay, that's why, for example, if it was an accident on the road and the car could have driven off the road, yeah, she left the road, for example. And another type of movement, it is when you go up and down. So you can climb up the hill, you can climb down the hill, you can walk up the street, you can walk down the street. Well, if you live in the city with hills, like Lisbon, for example. Yeah, I think it will be very important. But yes, the streets also have their ups and downs, and you can walk up the street, for example. These are the most important ones. These are the ones which you will need every day, and this is very important for you to remember them. That's why I made you, well, maybe not the best, but I hope effective illustration of that. And there are some more prepositions, but because they're highly visual, yes, you are actually describing what you see, I would prefer to use the picture to show you other types of movements which we would want to describe in English. So imagine that we have some kind of the race, the running race. Maybe it's a marathon. Well, I don't think it's a marathon. It's just a small running race. You see these people over here? Yes, they are standing at the start. Pay attention to this preposition. They are standing at the start. And right now, they start running from the start point, across the square. We already know across as the preposition of location, but it can be also used as the preposition of direction. They run over New Bridge. When you are moving, for example, planes, yeah? The plane is flying over the city and these people are running over the bridge. Then they turn left, and it's very important that you don't use any preposition here. You turn left and you turn right, okay? They turn left. They run along the river, okay? When it is some kind of the long place, they run along the river, and then they run up the castle hill. Yeah, the same as in my illustration. They run up the castle hill, past the castle. I think I've mentioned this preposition before. You can say they passed the castle as a verb, or they ran past the castle, down the steep hill, okay, down the steep hill, they turned left again, okay, and you can do this, you see, you can do this both in present or in past. If you are using the present tense to describe this kind of a sequence, it will give more dynamics, more involvement to your story, and we often use present to describe the stories. But you can just make it a sequence and use past simple everywhere. So after turning left, you see, this structure we learned, yes, after turning left, they run through the tunnel. And this is a very good preposition when you are moving through something. You can move through the forest, yeah, you can drive through something in 3 dimensions, okay? You drive across the park, but you drive through the forest or through the tunnel. And then they turn left again. Well, why do they keep turning left? Okay, they turn left again, they run past the railway station, and they arrive at the finish point. And this is the time, guys, for me to tell you about this tricky verb arrive, because I told you already that every time when you are showing the direction of some movement with any verb of movement, you always use the preposition to. But you need to remember, and this is an exception, that when you use the verb arrive, you use in for cities and countries, and you use at for all other places. So imagine that you are running a marathon. Yeah, and I know, for example, in France, these marathons are so popular. So people start from one city, run across the fields, okay, all around the area, and they arrive, for example, in another city. If it's a city, you use in, okay? If it's finish point, as in our example, you use at, okay? I hope it makes sense. I wanted to visualize it for you, and I truly think that you need to practice it again visually, yeah, based on the pictures. Try to, well, look around you, try to see different types of objects, different types of locations, and different types of movements. When you are walking down the stairs, yes, when you are getting out of your house, when you walk along the street, towards the bus stop, for example, yes, when you get on the bus, and so on and so on. There is just one thing left for me to tell you, the difference between the prepositions round and around. We tend to forget that, but the students actually have a lot of questions about them. So round and around, they are quite similar, but it has something to do with the exact location. If you are outside this place, for example, we often have these ring roads, yes, in different cities. If you are driving outside the city on this ring road, this is round. I'm driving round the city. But if you are just moving inside the city without any particular direction, yeah, for example, I want to travel around the world. It doesn't mean that you will go on this line strictly around the planet, right? You will be just visiting different places. This is around. That's why we say, let's go walk around the city, okay? And yes, I want to travel around the world. Well, I have given you so much, I know. Just take your time. If you need to watch this video another time, don't worry about that. It will come to you. Thank you.